At this time, I get the pleasure of introducing our Senator, John Hoeven. And I know I got something here to read here, but I somewhat prefer to talk about Senator Hoeven in a more personal aspect. Been fortunate to know him for probably 40 plus years, and obviously he was in the First Western banking system. He was at the Bank of North Dakota and the governor. And there has not been one time when he hasn't thanked the Farmers Union for all the work we do, whether it be value-added agriculture, the work on farm programs, farm bills, our work on disaster, our innovation thought on restaurants, just a number of things, the commitment we have for youth education. So I'm just feeling really proud to introduce him because he has delivered a number of times for us. And when it comes to ad hoc disaster and programs that have the ability to get money out here to our countryside, Senator Hoeven sitting in the Ag Appropriation side of the Ag Committee on the Senate side. In his capacity, he's able to have great influence on getting potential dollars and helping us with weather disasters, market disasters, and all those programs. Along with that, you all know we've been living in a farm program system for 8, 9, 10 years now with extensions. Even during that, he was able to work really hard to get some improvement to crop insurance, to the ARC payment, and to the reference prices and so forth going forward. That's going to have an impact come for the 2026 crop. So let's give a great welcome to our North Dakota's 26th U.S. Senator, and just let him come up here and tell us what he's been working on, and I'm sure he's going to share a lot of things that he's hearing and the potentials that are out there as we move forward into the next year. Thank you, Senator Hoeven.
How's everyone doing? Yeah, nice of Congresswoman Fedorchak to get here. Matter of fact, I left D.C. Thursday night. We were up at the White House, President Trump signed a bill actually that she was the primary sponsor of in the House regarding the BLM resource management rule, which is really important legislation that helps our energy industry, both our coal plants and our oil and gas producers. And so she and I were up there because President Trump signed the bill. So then she was sticking around and going to the Christmas party, and I was coming home. So good of her to get back here for this weekend, because I'm pretty sure they got to be, I mean, obviously we're in session, so I'm going back, but I'm pretty sure the House is in session too. So good of her to make the effort to get up here and see all of you. And it shows how important that she and myself place in all the work that you do for farmers and ranchers. And it's pretty remarkable that this is your 99th convention. That's amazing. And that Mark Watney's been the president of Farmers Union for all those years. That's I couldn't figure out why he didn't stay for the 100th, you know, since he got the first. No, he's great. And congratulations to you for helping farmers for all these years. It's been a tough year for farmers. I'm glad I don't have to say tough year for farmers and ranchers, because the ranchers have been having a lot of tough years. So it's really nice to see them have a few good ones. But it's been a tough year for our farmers. We started out, I think when I was here last, for your last annual convention, we either were or had just finished, you know, a $10 billion assistance package as part of the little over $30 billion that we put in place for weather disasters. We added $10 billion for economic disaster. And as I mentioned at the time, that was really because, you know, we hadn't done the Farm Bill and gotten the Farm Bill done, and we hadn't been able to update ARC and PLC. And so we really needed to do something, because otherwise that assistance would have been there in an updated Farm Bill, which is supposed to get done every 5 years. And so that's why we needed to do it. And that's also why you saw in, whether you want to call it the Working Family Tax Relief Act, or you want to call it the One Big Beautiful Bill, or like some of my young staffers call it, the OB3, kind of a Star Wars reference there. Crowder, you'd probably like that, being a young guy and, you know, Star Wars fan. But that's why in the One Big Beautiful Bill, you know, we updated ARC PLC, and then we included my Farmer Act. So I put in legislation to enhance crop insurance. It's called the Farmer Act. It's actually the second year I'd put it in. And essentially it allows you to buy up to higher levels of coverage at a more affordable price, both at the farm level and then the supplemental option as well. It'll provide assistance to buy up to higher, 80 to 85% coverage. Like I say, both at the enterprise level and at the supplemental coverage option. And just to put that in perspective, for North Dakota, that's about $45 million in additional premium support that enables you to buy those higher levels of coverage. So it makes crop insurance more affordable and more effective. That's our number one risk management tool. The other thing we did, of course, is we updated ARC and PLC. And that was badly needed. We updated reference prices about 15 to 20%. To put that in perspective, for North Dakota, that's about $500 million just for North Dakota. So it's meaningful. And that actually, we did that on a 7-year basis. We'll have that for 7 years, and it ramps up over time, over that 7-year period. So that's really important too. The challenge, of course, is that though we did put that in place for the 25 crop year, you don't actually see it until the end of the marketing year, so you're talking about next October. And of course, that puts us in a situation now where we got to work on a bridge. And that's what we're doing to get to those enhanced programs. Oh, and the other thing I should mention is we enhanced the livestock programs, livestock indemnity program, livestock forage program, and emergency livestock assistance program. We enhanced those in the OB3. And then we also increased the estate tax credit exemption. Very important for passing on our farms and our ranches. So those things are in the one big beautiful bill, but we got to bridge to them, right? And so we're in that period now trying to do that. And there's a number of things that we are working on very hard to get that done. The first, of course, is getting these sales going. And, I talk on a regular basis with U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer, who's a really good guy, and also with Secretary Scott Besson. And he, too, understands. Matter of fact, he had to divest of it, but he had a big farm up in northeast North Dakota and growing corn and soybeans. So he sure gets it. He understands it. And they're working very hard to try to get China to treat us right. But as was the case during the Trump first administration, China targeted our farmers, and they've done it again. And so on Monday, I was up at the White House, and we had a round table, and President Trump and Secretary Rollins announced the $12 billion in assistance, bridge assistance. 11 billion of that will be for row crops, $1 billion for specialty crops. We'd actually set that up. That comes out of the CCC, which is in my Ag Appropriations Committee, which I chair, and we'd set that up back before the end of September because it had to be in place by the end of the fiscal year, just based on how the funding cycle works. But with the government shutdown, then it got delayed. But President Trump and Secretary Rollins were supportive of it all the way through it and announced it, as you know, this week. And Secretary Rollins is moving to get it out fast. I mean, this is something they want to get out soon, and meaning over the next several months, because she knows the situation where folks are going in and trying to get set up for next year. So the real key is getting these sales going. We had USTR Jameson Greer met with him again this week, talked to him both. We had him in for a committee hearing. I talked to him there about getting the sales going. I talked to him afterwards. Same thing with Secretary Besson. Talked to him last Monday. We've got to get the sales going. We get it, and they get it, and it can't be just China. It's got to be these other countries as well. And so we're going to continue to work on that, obviously, as well. Other things is we got to get year-round E15, and I'm looking for some kind of year-end legislation, and that just makes sense and gives consumers choice. So I'm hopeful in some kind of year-end legislation here we can try to find a place to include E15. And then, there may be some additional assistance, obviously, we have to work on as well. And the thing that I've talked to folks about is Section 32. So again, another program that flows through my Ag Appropriations Committee, and that is that the tariff revenue flows into that Section 32. A lot of it's used for the school nutrition programs and that kind of thing. Some of it's used for commodity purchases. But there might be an opportunity where we could make some adjustments there as well, and maybe use some of that tariff revenue for potentially some additional assistance. I've raised that issue both with the President and with Secretary Rollins, and we'll continue to work on that. Again, You know, there's no one thing that gets us through to, like I say, the enhancements in the One Big Beautiful Bill and more sales, but we have to keep working on this stuff, and we will. The health insurance is a very important issue to all of you. Essentially, what we're trying to get to, at least myself and others are trying to get to, is something where we find a way to extend the assistance, but we get some reforms in it, so we do something about the incredible escalation in cost that's occurring. Right now, either way, the advanced premium tax credits under Obamacare continue. That's not something that's discontinued. They continue, okay? What they're taught, what actually expires are the enhanced advanced premium tax credits. Now, they're called tax credits, but they're actually payments to insurance companies. But that enhanced provision was put in during coronavirus, solely with Democrat votes. So it didn't get any bipartisan votes, but that was put in during coronavirus with an expiration at the end of this year. So in terms of trying to work something out, you saw some votes in the Senate this week where one approach was just extending those enhanced APTCs and having them continue to go to the insurance companies. And the other approach is saying, no, let's set up HSAs, which was actually authorized under the One Big Beautiful Bill. So you could have an HSA, and then assistance would go into that HSA. If you're 50 or over, it's $1,500. If you're 49 or younger, it's $1,000. That goes in an HSA rather than going to the insurance company. And then you can pick your policy, and you may, whatever policy you think's best, including policies with a higher deductible and a lower premium, and then you've got that money in your HSA to pay your co-pays and your deductibles. So that's kind of where we're at. How much of this is an extension of this existing, and how much of this is something that actually gives you more control over your health care? I am hopeful that over the course of this month and maybe into January, we come together and get something that works better and gives you more control over your health care. And the timeline, as you know, open enrollment goes till January 15, so we may have to look at something that extends that or something like that. I hope there's something there that we can get that works better for all of our farmers and ranchers and other folks in the individual market. Understand this primarily affects folks in the individual market, not so much people in the group plans. But people in the group plans are seeing a lot of inflation in medical costs because of Obamacare too. But the real issue right now is the individual plans, which of course most of you have. Prevented plant, you saw, okay. I'll probably finish up with prevented plant. I don't want to keep you too long, get you off your timeline. But if there is something you want me to address, tell me and I'm happy to do it. But I'm trying to hit the things that I think would be top of the mind and most important for you. The 5% top up on prevented plant, that had nothing to do with the One Big Beautiful Bill. But we had to get RMA to promulgate the regulations for the enhanced crop insurance in the One Big Beautiful Bill so you can use them for your next crop year. So they had to get that done, and they had a deadline by the end of November. They did. That's good. So now that's to your benefit. But they added a provision that restricted the 5% top up on prevented plant. And I'm pretty sure I know where it came from, but I guess I won't speculate. The fact is, we got it. I called USDA right away. I talked to Secretary Fordyce and said, hey, this isn't going to work. We need that 5% top up. And he said, well, you got 60 days to get comment in. So I'm going to get all the members of the Ag Committee on board, and we'll send a letter. And I've already talked to a lot of them. And then we'll get all the farm groups to send in too, and I hope we'll get that fixed here in the next 60 days. Okay. With that, I hope I covered the issues that are important to you, and I hope we're working on the issues that are important to you in a way that you feel is the right way. And as always, if you have thoughts, input, concerns, let us know. Tom Brustegard, who many of you know is our point ag guy in the state. I've got Krista Kadowski here with me. She's from Dickinson. She understands ag. She's our regional director here in Bismarck, Tony Eberhardt, Calla Wickenheiser in D.C. Let us know. But I got to tell you, and this, I'm going to finish up on the last point here, and that is that we talk to you guys in the other farm groups all the time. I mean, Mark Watney, I mean, I know you got great candidates running, but we're going to miss Mark Watney, and you're going to miss Mark Watney. You know, he's just done an incredible job. Yes, sir, is this a question, or is this people just saying I've talked too long and want me to go? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Roger Zedekiah, Sturm, North Dakota. I just heard yesterday that most of that bridge payment is going to be going to the rice and cotton farmers and very little to the soybean and the wheat and corn producers. I'm hearing maybe 35 to 50 bucks is all we're going to be looking at per acre. That more than a kick in the butt, because for what we really need.
Yeah, well, what I will say is I don't know the answer to that yet, but you noticed I was careful to say we're not necessarily done yet.
Yeah.
The other thing I will tell you is that cotton and rice are hurt. So, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying I don't know. But as you can guess, I'm going to advocate very hard for.
Well, Senator Hoeven, I can't express it strong enough. I appreciate your help, but we are hurting also.
Oh, I absolutely understand that. Yep. Right on. Anything else? All right. Well, we'll continue to work with you. We'll continue to listen to you, and I hope that you have a very blessed and Merry Christmas with your wonderful families. God bless you.